Hey, all, welcome to the live watch along tonight of With Great Responsibility, the Stan Lee story. The neat part about this is we have it all set up so you'll be able to watch along with us. We do have a special guest who I'll introduce in just a second. The screen will split. You will see the actual story streaming straight from YouTube, and we will be able to watch together. One thing I will kind of alert you to is that there are some ads along the way, so we'll work with them, that's what happens when we have a free film, free thing to stream here. But we're glad to have you here. And if you're going to watch this on replay later, you won't have any issues with making sure that you are lined up because we'll all be watching it together. So I do want to introduce our guest here, pass it along over to him to introduce himself, tell us a little bit about his content. I'm sure most of you are aware of him. So welcome.
Hi there. How you doing? So I'm Big J from Unyolo. We are in Instagram. We don't have a YouTube account yet, but you can see our Instagram account. What we usually do, it's me and my daughter, Big J and Little J. She lives in the UK. I live in Portugal. So we wanted a way to still be connected and have something to do together. So we thought our love for movies, that's something we always did together, was just the right thing to do. So we started this Instagram just talking about the movies we love, talk about the movies we saw, if we like it or not, just do a couple of lists of like the best movies for us. It's a very personal account and it just started just for us. And now with time, it's just grown and we love the community. So we've been wanting to get more and more in things that the community is doing and stuff like this. It's what we love to do, is talk about movies. So today it's just me. She's probably asleep because it's already midnight here. So she's probably going to be in bed. And it's just me today to watch this, that it's someone that was really important for her and for me especially. And we're really excited about this today.
Well, we're very happy to have you, and hopefully we will enjoy this together, chat a little bit about it. For those of you watching, I will be sharing some of your comments throughout. We will talk about some of the movie news that came out today. Some of your comments will be broadcast on the screen here, such as this one that just popped up. And they said crossovers couldn't get any bigger. I think that is referring to you and I here. So that is great. Thank you, Luke.
Thanks, Luke.
Yeah, but without further ado, let's get this movie rolling. What I would ask is that if you are watching along with us, please comment and just let us know that you can hear it once it starts. And hopefully we don't run into any buffering issues or anything of that sort. Ready to roll?
Yeah.
All right. Let's do it. I can't believe I haven't seen this yet.
Yeah, I think I saw this. I'm not very sure. I saw a lot of clips about him and his life story. And I think I saw this a while ago, but not very sure.
Okay.
The 2008 National Medal of Arts to Stan Lee for his groundbreaking work as one of America's most prolific storytellers, recreating the American comic book. His complex plots and humane superheroes celebrate courage, honesty, and the importance of helping the less fortunate, reflecting America's inherent goodness.
This guy was just amazing. Like, if we think about everything he created, it's just unbelievable.
It's absolutely incredible that he is recognized on a level like that.
Yeah.
Stan Lee is a giant, and a giant like Walt Disney is a giant.
We created Spider-Man and Hulk and Fantastic Four, X-Men.
Don't know if you saw the news also of Nicolas Cage being on the TV show of the Tiger Man.
I did. I can't believe that.
That's now one of the things I really want to see, because Nicolas Cage is just the right person to do that.
Have you seen the Tiger King special?
Yes, it's unbelievable. I just put it on because I wanted something to be running in the background, but then I just couldn't stop watching it. It's just so ridiculous that you just can't turn away.
Oh, so I'm going to pause this real quick because what I'm hearing is that this is super laggy.
Mm-hmm.
Let me see.
Is the quality...
We are down to... Let me double check. I don't know that I want to drop the quality anymore, but maybe we'll try that. All right. Let's see how this goes.
Stan is very hot.
He's 86. I look older than he does.
Paris Hilton, of course. Stan is very hot.
Stanley. That's, I'm
Let's
like,
see.
oh my God. It influenced the lives of like millions and millions.
He's really become
Should be picking up
major
here.
icon himself.
When I met him on the set,
I think it's a
saw
bit
him
better.
crowding around him. You know, it was like Mick Jagger was there.
I've been here for 3 days waiting for Stan Lee.
Not seeing it streaming here.
I just relate to so much of what Stan Lee writes in his characters.
Oh, I think that may have helped.
Peter Parker
Yeah.
reminds me of myself.
Learn to read because of Spider-Man comics.
Awesome. Thanks, Luke.
We love you, Stan.
This has been a dream for me and Little J. It's to go to Comic-Con in the United States. We went to the one in the UK. It's not the same thing, but no, it's a lot smaller, and we don't really get anyone that's that big. It's like it's still cool. We still like dress up. You still have some fun, but this is just unbelievable.
I think that would be really neat just to be there for the experience.
Yeah. But from what I heard, it's like the tickets are sold out years in advance. It's,
And now
not
even
easy to get.
even for next year, I think what they're talking about is taking the tickets from this year and just honoring them next year. So it's another year without it.
It's incredible just to see the characters that he created. It's usually you're lucky if you created one in your lifetime,
Right.
and like if you'd be happy if you just did Spider-Man, and he did all this. It's just ridiculous.
Believe it or not, I wanted to be an actor.
And there's still so many that we haven't seen on the big screen yet.
Yeah, I'm a big comic book guy. I read comic books all my life. I have thousands of comic books now in my mom's house because like I'm always moving around, so it's just there in a garage. Maybe one day I find that I have a really like expensive one there. That's what I'm hoping. But it's just like for us, like that grew up with this. It's just incredible.
I agree with you.
My mother and father slept in a car.
Oh, think it stopped.
Oh, where did it just go? Now we're back. Can you still see
The
it?
biggest worry
Yeah.
my father had that I used to hear them repeating all the time is, what'll we do?
Yeah, it's running again.
Scrape enough money together for the rent this month. And that went on and on. My father was.
Is there a character that you're excited to see on the big screen that hasn't been on there yet?
Well, one that I really like, and I'm hoping they do him justice, is Moon Knight, the one that they're doing the TV show now. I think is like you can do a lot of cool things with him, and I'm hoping that they get the right actor, and they like because the idea then is to go to the big screen. So I think they're gonna have to get someone that then can carry it there. No, but there's so many like that I'm excited about seeing. Is one that I wanted to see was the Doctor Doom. I think Doctor Doom was never like really
mainly, but he was also the
what we got wasn't great. So I think that's something that has a lot of potential. But there's so many, like it's just incredible. They still have so many to dig in, and if they did, and what they did with some of the smaller ones, because Iron Man, for example, was never one of our big characters. We like he wasn't one of the main ones, and they just did brilliant in the movies with him. So I think there's a lot of potential there.
I agree. I think that's something that's made the franchises so succcious is just their ability to take not minor characters, but characters that never really had been given this platform before, and turning them into something special.
Yeah, when sometimes you have less resources, you need to be more creative, and that's the thing.
So I wrote one
Because like DC, I think one of the big problems with DC is they always go for the same things. They have to have Batman on everything. They like it. It's like if they don't use Batman, they don't know what to do. So like you always get the same things over and over. And there's so many characters on DC that they could use that were more interesting in my opinion, and they just keep using the same ones over and over and over. And Marvel, because they didn't add it, they had to use the ones that no one wanted, and that's what's so cool. This is the characters that no one wanted.
Joe Simon and Jack Kirby suddenly left the entire company.
Now everyone wants them.
Yeah.
So Luke commented, every time there's a Stan Lee cameo, Rick Dalton pointing meme. So Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Did you see that?
I was the only
Yeah.
So the publisher, Martin Goodman, he said,
this is another thing. I think that they need to do a proper movie about the life of this guy. I think they're missing out. There's a lot of like biopics now of musicians and stuff.
Yeah.
But if they do the right biopic with this guy, they'll break all like records. If they get how he had the ideas to create these characters and even use the actors of the MCU as the inspirations. Because I'm sure all of them would get a pay cut to be on a movie that would make justice to this guy. So I think someone needs to do that.
I would agree with you. I think it's wild because a lot of them have found great success in their careers because of their involvement in the MCU.
Yeah. No question there.
Kirby were the first two to really.
And this is the thing. Sometimes people say, "Oh, come on, let these actors do other things. We don't want them to be stuck in the MCU." But people forget that, like, these guys being on these movies gives them the financial stability to do whatever they want. They can go and do whatever they want because they know in a year or two they're gonna get a big check from another of these movies, so they can try smaller movies, they can do it for free, they can do whatever. And this is what people forget.
And apparently Robert Downey Jr. wanted the freedom to do Doolittle.
Our real heroes overseas.
God, that movie was so bad.
I haven't even brought myself to watch it yet.
I went to the cinema. It was one of the last movies I saw in the cinemas. That's what makes me sad. One of the last movies I saw was that one.
In the army.
It's horrible. But thank God I didn't went to the IMAX. I was this close to go to the IMAX to watch it. I would be really annoyed with that.
That would be something, right?
I couldn't have lived with myself if I were a civilian while other people were over there fighting.
Oh man!
In the army, I was classified.
Yeah, it was in the war also.
They sent me to different camps where I wrote training films.
He was classified as a playwright.
How not to get venereal disease, which he's very good at.
You can't really imagine him in a fight. It just looks like a nice guy.
In the army, who were classified as playwrights.
It's
and
true.
I was in great company. There was William Saroyan, Carl M. Lee Jr.
All right, just waiting for a successful Sinister Six movie. It certainly seems like they're building up to that in the Sony Marvel universe or whatever they're calling it.
Work so fast that they'd be able to sit around.
Well, they're building on something. Don't know if it's going to be successful, but they're building. I'm not very sure about Morbius. That those trailers still.
We have an ad.
I didn't know flowers could look like this. I'm Brittany.
Oh, it's fine.
And we're back.
After the war ended.
Yeah, I'm not sure how Morbius will do,
Everybody
but
thought that was the last war we'd ever
give it
have.
an opportunity.
Peace in the world.
Well, I like Venom. I'm probably one of the few that likes Venom. I think it doesn't take himself too serious. I think that's the problem with some of these movies is they forget what they're trying to do. And that one, it's like I loved how they did that buddy cop thing with Venom and Eddie Brooke. It was really fun.
I very much enjoyed it. It was a nice surprise. It was a nice escape, and I'm excited to see what they do with the sequel.
Yeah, just hope they don't go too fast. And I think they're going straight to the carnage. And I think that's again another issue with most studios is they don't have any patience. They want to go straight to to the ones that make a lot of money, but they forget that people need to grow, and going straight into maximum carnage. I don't know. It's a bit fast, but let's see what happens.
I'm hoping that when Kevin Feige was involved in Spider-Man, what was it? Spider-Man Homecoming he was involved in.
Yeah.
Then I'm hoping that they were able to like map out loosely what they wanted to do and get some insight, but we shall see. It's all about the money, unfortunately.
Yeah.
You think I'm wonderful? I will not let. No, please don't do that. Should have seen her 60 years ago.
He was funny. Like, oh, I love him. He's really funny.
This is what she hates.
I don't know if you saw Silent Bob, the last one that they did.
The reboot that they just did?
Yeah.
I did not see that.
The movie wasn't great, but he ends up with like Kevin Smith at one of the last videos with him. He ends up with him having a conversation with him about being in his movies and stuff. And it's really good.
That's neat.
And she loves me loving her.
And he loves him, and I love him loving him.
Venom 3 Maximum Carnage.
Well,
Lucky we ought to be able to move like this at our age. Sweet Jesus.
After World
yeah, he looked good for his age. Like, we can't remember, can't forget how old he was.
It's very true. It's very, very true.
But I still remember, like, little Jay only like cried when 2 celebrities died, and he was one of them. She was just so like, she was saying, "Oh my God, it's like part of my family. It's like it was my granddad. I saw him like growing up in all these movies." It was really, really sad. The other one was Stephen Hawking. She loved Stephen Hawking.
I was going to ask, wow. Okay.
Yeah, she loves anything that's to do with sciences and stuff, and she used to love him, and because she was always watching him also in Big Bang Theory, she always like thought he was such an amazing person, and she was like destroyed when these 2 guys died.
Yeah. That's terrible.
Some of the giants in the industry, and Stan had them
Huh.
at his disposal.
This is another genius.
About one complete.
The creativity is really just something that I will forever be in awe of.
Yeah.
When I would describe the kind of drawings I want, if somebody was recoiling in horror at some scene and the artist would draw like that, I'd say, that's okay, but how about like that?
He would jump on the couch. He would leap across. He would do Aunt May's voice.
He would jump up on the desk practically to act out how he wanted the heroes to do it. And that was a major feat to get up on that desk with all that junk on it.
He was a believer in the silent film approach to storytelling. Don't do anything mildly. If somebody is going to pound on a desk, you don't go, no, you go, smash. That's the way he used to do. So he would animate.
So it's almost as if the comics and kind of the energy he put into them were built for the big screen. Oh, there's Dr. Doom.
Yeah.
With that animated life.
That people down the hall
100%. That's the thing. Like, a lot of people put these things like the comic books and the movies of superheroes, and if they are movies or they're not. But people forget how like important these books were. Like, people forget that they were supposed to be. They have like hidden meanings behind it. Like, a lot of people, like, if you see, I don't know if it's going to be on this movie, but how he was explaining that the X-Men was a representation of like gay people, was a representation of like people that had to hide because they were different.
Yeah.
And that's the thing for a lot of people, like, when they were reading these stories, it was the only way that you could have these stories in the mainstream media and the mainstream. So there's a lot of things behind it that people sometimes like look at it and see a guy in a spandex and go, "Oh, this is ridiculous." But like, there's a lot more. Like, and for kids, I think it's really important. Like, there's a lot behind that kids learn.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. I think it's what's interesting, especially with the X-Men, is I wonder just how many people get that or that understand that that was sort of the impetus for creating the story the way it was. I think it would surprise a lot of people.
Yeah.
Hey out there in Marveland, face front, this is Stan Lee speaking. You've probably never heard a record like this before because no one would be nutty enough to make one with a bunch of offbeat artists, so anything is liable to happen.
Hey, who made you with this, Jockey Lee?
Well, Jolly Jack Kirby, say a few words to the fans, Jackson.
Okay, a few words.
Look, pal, I'll take
They were way ahead of their times. Like, this is like if you're doing a podcast.
Right.
It's ridiculous, but like if you look at these guys, what they're doing is a podcast, but they're doing it on records in vinyls that people are buying and hearing it. They were
It's
just
amazing.
way ahead of their like. People don't give enough credit to this guy.
Now, let's all get back to
No, it's absolutely incredible.
And as for you, marvelous Merry Marchers, welcome.
And if Marvel is today what it is, it's because of him.
Oh, for sure. For sure.
If it wasn't him.
Heroes with me, Jack drew like a movie director. He couldn't draw anything dull.
In a very short span,
Those
of
glasses
about
kind of look
6 years,
like
Stan Lee and Jack Kirby
Iron Man's
were more
glasses
successful
Yeah.
characters than
in
any
Far From Home.
person or two people together have ever created in the history of
My God,
comics.
look at it.
I've always marveled at the fact that Jack was able to design so many.
The Silver Surfer is who I want. I can't wait to see a good Silver
Yeah.
Surfer movie.
Make each one totally
That's one that I think you can do a lot of it. A lot with it.
drawing.
I agree.
He drew with such certainty.
And the one we got was so bad.
There was no hesitation.
Namor is another one I think we're gonna get soon. I think it's being set up like in Endgame when we talk about the earthquakes under the sea.
Yeah. Yep.
I think that's one that's gonna come really fast. I think he'll be the villain. He's gonna be the villain of Black Panther 2.
That's what a lot of people were saying, and I would be into that.
Yeah, I think he'll be, and I think like the Eternals. Like I don't know if you ever read the comics. The Eternals are the reason Atlantis is under the sea. So I think we're gonna get a setup of that, of having them putting Atlantis under the sea many years before, and then setting up that for the Black Panther that then comes the next year.
That would be really interesting.
And that's why there's
That planning and the connections they make between the characters and the stories just absolutely is enthralling to me.
I never thought
Yeah, it's ridiculous. Like they know what they're gonna do in the next 5-10 years. They already have, at least they have an idea of what they're gonna do. It's not luck or it's incredible.
And then Taika Waititi comes in and just mixes it all up with Thor Ragnarok and
magazine section.
No, that was like that movie is incredible.
I love that movie.
I really think you should interview.
I just hope like the news today of him gonna be writing and doing a Star Wars movie. I just hope it doesn't go like very similar to that. That's my only fear. It's when these directors that have such a strong vision, and he's a big fan of Flash Gordon. He wanted to do a Flash Gordon movie for ages. So I just hope he doesn't do a Star Wars movie that like just looks like a Flash Gordon movie.
Yeah.
Calling me to say how great it was, how excited.
Yeah, I don't know.
And she was in tears. She said, "How?"
I wonder what property he's going to get. I don't know. I don't think the news said that it was an original property, or meaning like, is he getting a Knights of the Old Republic, or
by Stan Lee and Jack Kirby?
is he creating a story?
To have this beautiful bouquet of flowers.
Like for him, I would bet he's creating something. I don't know. I think he would be more interested in that.
I would think so.
I'm concerned. There's no
I definitely would think so.
And, he was the greatest partner a guy could have.
Eventually, Jack contacted me, and he wanted to come back again, which made me happy.
It's ridiculous. This.
If there is any danger in taking young people,
Thor 4 is going to be incredible.
showing them
Yeah.
figures,
I hope so.
fantastic, apparitions like
Yeah, we're all hoping.
America.
See what they do. It's I just have a problem when they start having too much because they just have to kind of do more than the one before. and I think they just sometimes start getting too big, too confusing. There's too many things going on. So I hope they don't go that way and they just keep it simple. We have one villain, and because that's the problems with, like, for example, Spider-Man movies is that, like, if you see the originals by Sam Raimi, first one was great, second one is still the best one for me.
Yeah.
And then the third one, they just wanted to put so much in it that it just gets too much. So, and now we're gonna have Girl Thor. We're gonna have Bale. That's gonna be the villain. We're saying that we're gonna get so much going on. I don't know.
I'm with you there. I honestly, I really enjoyed Hela as the villain of Ragnarok.
It was amazing.
Yeah, I wish that she would continue on.
They're reading stories devoted to
But-
adultery.
But the thing is, we never really saw her die. That's the thing. Like,
Good point.
there's a couple of these villains that could easily come back because we never saw her die. We see the last fight, and I don't know. Like, Thor survived, so why couldn't she? She still chance, and she was amazing. I just think she was so good.
So, what are your thoughts on Taika in general, aside from just his Marvel movie, but thinking about Jojo Rabbit and some of his previous entries?
I'm a huge fan of him. Like, the first thing I ever saw of him was What We Do in the Shadows, and it's like one of my favorite comedies of all times. I just like I don't know if it's because my daughter, like the mother is English, so I see like a lot of comedies from England, like The Office, Ricky Gervais, and I love that kind of like dry humor that Taika does. He kind of says things serious, but he just like makes it so ridiculous that you just laugh even looking serious. So What We Do in the Shadows is it's amazing. The Boy is beautiful. The other one that can't remember the name, The Hunt of it has a weird name. It was
of
Wilderness.
Wilder. Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
That one is incredible. So, like, I already was a big fan of him before Thor. And
That's awesome.
Jojo Rabbit, I have to say, I was a little bit disappointed.
Really?
Because like I think the problem sometimes with movies is when the expectation is so high, and I saw it after a lot of people like saw it in the Toronto festival, and like so the hype was so high, and being a movie from him and really loving the trailer, I think the trailer was amazing. So when I went to see it, I was a bit disappointed. But it was still great. But I was just expecting it to be blown away, and there was parts that I really like. But I think he didn't like. He went a lot into the comedy aspect. He went a lot into the ridiculous of the Nazis, but especially that scene that's so strong with the feet of the mom. And don't want to spoil anything, but when he's like, I thought that was like. It was that moment that was so strong, and then it was like over like that, and we just moved on. And I thought that we just needed a little bit more of that. But there was great things like Sam Rockwell is always great. He can pull off anything. So there was a lot of things I loved in that movie.
Yeah, I agree with you. I honestly think that Jojo Rabbit was my favorite of last year, because I think that what you're alluding to with the
thing I had to do,
the feet of his mother and things like that, without getting into it, there was a lot of unexpected heart there, and I think even in the relationship between him and the young girl as well, it just was. I loved it. I was so impressed by taking such a controversial subject like that and being able to boil a nice story out of it.
It was the worst.
Oh, on that, no question. Like, not a lot of people could do a story like that and make it like it's incredible what he can do. He can pick up on any subject matter, and then the other thing I love is he's a great actor. Him playing Hitler was hilarious. He is a really good actor. I'm really curious to see him on Suicide Squad 2. What I don't know what role he's gonna do, but for him to be taking on that role, I'm curious to see what's gonna be, because
it's probably going to be something absolutely ridiculous.
That's what I'm hoping. That's what he does well. And
So
then that voice he does with what's his name in Thor, the
Korg.
rock. Oh God, he's just hilarious.
Hey there.
Yeah.
What kind of
It's
Yeah.
so funny.
was that you would
No,
be
but it's
writing?
a great director, and honestly, I would prefer to see a version of Flash Gordon than a Star Wars for him. I think it's a better fit. Star Wars is ridiculous, but not to the extreme. And Flash Gordon is like, I still love the original. It's so stupid, but it's so funny. So I would love to see him do something like that.
I'm just hoping that he takes Star Wars into a new direction that doesn't necessarily rely on the same old tropes from the previous movies, and allows everyone to play a little bit more and enjoy this, world that was built. But
Worst that can happen.
Yeah,
I think he's the guy for it.
I have this issue with Star Wars. I love Star Wars, but it's always it's like a soap opera. It's always the same family. Everyone is everyone, sooner or later, you find out that you are from the same family and you connect. And it's a whole galaxy, and it's like, come on, just it's so weird, that part. But still, like it is an amazing concept and what they did with it. But and I like this last one. People have a lot of things, like The Last Jedi is one of my favorites.
Same here.
I think it's a brilliant movie. And like, again, people complain when things are too familiar. People complain when things are too different. People always complain. But I think The Last Jedi, it was really good. Really, really good.
Last Jedi for me was one that I had to think about a lot after I watched it, because it definitely took things in a different direction and delivered the story in a way that we haven't seen in Star Wars before. But I think that's what made it work. I loved it.
Yeah, I love it.
Became president. Alan Shepard became the first American in space. The bikini became fashionable. And Marvel Comics made its debut.
So these comics that were what?
Fantastic Four.
Yeah.
This is another guy that's incredible. Frank Miller. I just love his work. It's incredible.
He looks like Freddy Krueger to me.
Comic
Yeah.
book superheroes up
It's
until
just not a great director. Have you seen Spirit?
didn't really have a sense of humor.
Yes.
There was no texture to it.
Yeah,
You were
that
just-
wasn't good. He did a good job in 300 with Robert Rodriguez, but then on his own, it was clear that he needed someone there to help him out.
Everybody
Yeah.
pretty much the same taste because the book sounded
all of a
Look
sudden,
In the comments, all roads are lead to discussing The Last Jedi every single time.
this was really the first
Well,
time
it's
that
Star Wars takes a lot of conversations. Takes we always kind of get there. And today is Star Wars Day, so
Very
today
true.
we are allowed to talk about it.
We're contractually obligated.
Yeah. But this is what I'm saying. Like, I don't know what people have against The Last Jedi so much. And Rian Johnson is like a great director. People say whatever they want, but like, you might not like the movie, but you can't say it's not a great director. It's like he's brilliant.
He's up there for me right now, honestly.
in a book should react.
Did you ever saw Brick?
Yes, I have.
I feel like a
Brick is so good, so underrated.
And we had stories.
It is.
So more people have a look at it now that everyone is, because of Nights Out. They go and look to his previous things and have a look at that.
Well, and he was also linked to, wasn't he linked to an original trilogy in the Star Wars universe? But I think after Last Jedi, I think that fell apart.
Yeah, but no, supposedly still on. He did a tweet the other day, and supposedly his trilogy is still gonna happen. But
I live in New York.
we don't know.
That would be interesting.
I made it New York. I could write comfortably.
Yeah, like if they give him something, that I think the problem with this is like when you pick on something that people are fans since they have been kids and you change it, it's like people are going to get upset. So if they give him something new that has no connections with anything and just create a Star Wars movie that's his, maybe people will take it another way. Because
that's true.
I think the problem was that, like, oh, that's not how Luke was. Oh, that's not how this was. Oh,
Marvel.
That's the thing. People get attached.
In the early '60s, by the late 1960s,
and I think that's what they were trying to
basically told Marvel
fix when they got to the Rise of Skywalker. Was okay. Let's bring it back to more fan service than not, and that I think is what ultimately. I'm not going to say doomed it because I enjoyed it to an extent, but there are parts of it that I really am not a fan of.
I don't think it's bad, but I completely agree. I think what Marvel proved is that they have the balls to do what they think is right, and then people complain and people shout, and then when they see the final product, most of people like say, "Oh, okay." They got it. And Star Wars, they did the first one with like the Force, what was it? The Force Awakens. And everyone said, "Oh, this is just like the old ones. It's a copy." So they went and did one that was completely different. And people complained, "Oh, this is nothing like the old one." So the next one, and you can do a trilogy like that. You can't really like. You just need to go. They just go with the flow, and you can't do that. You have to have someone that has the guts to do. And we have these examples. Marvel is one of them. Apple is another one. Like Steve Jobs, every time he did something, people said he was nuts and never gonna work, and he still did it, and he worked. So I think you need these guys, and I think that's why there were so many conversations of Kevin Feige now being more into the Star Wars. I think they just want someone that can do what we did for Marvel.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I was going to mention a minute ago, I'm surprised that Kathleen Kennedy is still in charge at Star Wars. I would have thought that they would have replaced her by now.
Just the way I need it.
I think they were waiting. I don't think they wanted to like change captain in the middle of like this. So I think they wanted to wait until this last one was over, and then just like kind of natural course say, oh, now that she did such a great job, finished the trilogy, now she's gonna move out. And I think they didn't want to really create that, because sometimes the problem with these big companies is that their decisions affect the stock market, and they have to be they have to be really careful with the decisions they make, because anything like if she would have been taken out before, everyone was saying, oh, there's problems with the last Star Wars, it sucks, she was fired. So I think they wanted to keep her until the end, but I think now she's gonna have to move on, because no one is really happy with what's going on.
Yeah, that's a very good point. Very good point.
Because you were a camera buff then. Probably something like, Joan, how can you stand there, you idiot? The sun's in the wrong position or something.
Well, why would that get you
have
angry?
No idea.
Well, anyway, whatever she lifted that typewriter up like that. My heart was in my mouth, and I kept thinking, "Oh no, she won't. She wouldn't." And she threw it down, and it shattered into a million.
I'm sure she's very happy he told that story.
Yeah.
Wow.
Good.
The '60s was the atomic age, and
when he does the Hulk.
Shelters in their backyards. I remember we lived in Long Island at the time.
That's the thing. He always got inspired with everything that was around him, and that's what like
they built
great artists do. He made things that were relevant. I think that's the big difference with DC. There's not a lot of characters that you can relate. There's not a lot of characters that you really care about, because they usually like godlikes, like Superman. I could never connect with Superman. Because like I always think, how the hell who's the hell gonna hurt him? He has no weaknesses.
Yeah. And I think that Zack Snyder honestly was trying to do that. I think he was trying to put more of a humanistic side on all of the characters. And that just was not what people wanted to see. And I'm a fan of what Snyder tried to do. I just again think that Warner Brothers got too scared and shifted gears too much too fast.
That's my issue. I love Man of Steel. I only have one issue with Man of Steel that really pisses me off. But then, like most of the movie, I really like it. And Henry Cavill as Superman, I think is the perfect casting. I think
Oh, I
he
agree.
deserved more. But then he's a really hard character to do because you only have two things to do, or you get kryptonite, or you're gonna have to get like someone that's from Krypton. And that's the other thing. It's a planet that's extinct, but then these people keep on showing up that are from this planet because he doesn't have any other witnesses, and I think that's the problem.
And they both hate each other.
But it was a good movie still.
I think they've really developed him further in the comics in some weird ways that just have not translated onto the screen yet. And that's why people were so upset with the end of Man of Steel, right? Because it was such a different. It took things in a different direction than typically is seen in Superman comics or Superman stories. But the reason why they did that was to explain what like his general tenet is about not killing and where that comes from.
But yet again, we are in this same thing of like my Superman never killed.
Right.
The Superman that it was when I was 20 years ago never killed. And this is the thing. We get stuck to what we believe that character is, and then we give no space for it to grow. A lot of these characters were made 50 years ago, so they can't be the same now.
Right.
I'm sorry, but I don't believe Batman today would not kill. He's gonna have like 20 guys with machine guns shooting at him. And he's not gonna be like, "Oh, I'm not gonna kill." No, like, there's gonna have to be things adapted, and I think that's the problem.
The real world.
Yeah, and to get to that point, there has to be an explanation or like a different path taken, and people don't have time for that.
Yeah,
unfortunately.
My problem with Batman v Superman is that again it was too fast. We
I
had
agree.
Superman movie, and then the next one we get like Wonder Woman, Doomsday. That's my biggest issue. I don't know if you ever read the comics, but that comic book, that Superman against Doomsday, is one of the best ones out there. That Doomsday is a brilliant character. How he was created, being stuck in a planet for centuries, evolving, and then we just get a clone created by Lex Luthor. Oh my God, that really that was the main issue I had. Like a lot of people talk about the Martha thing. I would laugh at that and pass it over, but Doomsday for me just looked ridiculous. Just ruined everything.
They didn't follow. They moved. They changed him too much. I'll say.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've seen on Sci-Fi over here. I'm not sure what it would be where you are, but the show Krypton. It was all about. I really enjoyed that show because I love the way they handled it.
And I love Lobo, and he shows up in there. That's one character I really like.
But there's an episode about the creation of Doomsday, and it was one of the coolest episodes because it just did a really good job of, they changed the story a little bit. But yeah, it was really neat.
I need to see that. I didn't watch the whole. I watched a couple of episodes. I saw that one because I knew Lobo was going to be on it, and I wanted to know what they did. I think Lobo is one that DC should really make a movie because they could make that. That was their chance of making something like Deadpool, because that's how Lobo is like, just like this ridiculous character that makes jokes, that talks to the public, that just
should have been apprehended by him.
They could do something really cool with it.
And he comes back a few times in the second season, and he's funny. I mean, I think they let him kind of run with the material a little bit. And there was supposed to be a spin-off show, but when everything started going south for Krypton, they abandoned all that.
Treat other people the way you want to be treated. There couldn't be anything bad in the world.
That really upset me when that show didn't get renewed because I liked what they were doing a lot.
How I came up with the idea for
so many shows now. The problem today is this: like, there's so many shows, so much content. It's really hard. And people are still kind of putting in the same light of like, oh, this didn't got enough ratings as it did before. Yeah, it will never do. There's so much there now. Like, my daughters don't even watch TV anymore. They don't even watch normal broadcast TV. They watch Netflix and that's it. And if it's on Netflix, it's YouTube. and that's what people watch. So when you say, oh, the ratings are really low compared with last year, yeah, and they will keep on going. So people need to get a different set of way of analyzing this.
Yeah.
Like an insect.
Yeah, that's a good point.
I like that. I said, I'm going to do that. Then I needed a name. Names are very important.
Oh, you got a name for Spider-Man.
One, Insect Man. Somehow I'm so dramatic. I figured, well, Fly Man? Nah, that didn't do it. Mosquito Man. I went down the list. I got to Spider-Man. I don't know why, but it sounded dramatic, frightening. I would want to read something called Spider-Man.
This things like this sometimes annoy me because they made it sound so easy. Oh, how did you came up with Spider-Man? Oh, I found this insect. It's like people that are this talented. Sometimes I think, well, how do they do this? It's
on Spider-Man. I came up.
Where do you think they're heading with the Spider-Man story in the third movie?
To Jack Kirby to draw.
Well, I think the logical step is going to be Craven. I think he's the only one. So now Spider-Man is running away, is a fugitive, and Craven is going to hunt him. I think that's the most logical way. And it's one of the most cool villains that we never saw before. And I think what they're trying to do, they don't want to do a Doc Ock. They don't want to do a Green Goblin. So they're going to bring someone new. And from the story that they set up, I think is the logical one. Now the question is, who's going to get? Who else is going to be on this? Because they now
quite
they're going to stop doing these movies just with one character. It's going to be kind of like Thor that had the Hulk. It's going to be so they're going to have to get someone else in. There was some discussion that I saw the other day, the rumors that they're going to have Daredevil.
Yeah.
There was rumors that he was the guy from the TV show. He said, well, it's not going to be that Daredevil. So that could also be interesting because if he had a lawyer that's going to defend him, and Daredevil is such a cool character, they could try and put him in there.
Don't you feel like it's getting too convoluted though with all that? I feel like that's too many big characters in one.
Yeah, the thing is, I think until now they've been doing it really well. They know how to balance it, and the other thing is, it doesn't feel like they're just showing up because they need to kind of put the ratings up. Oh, let's put Iron Man here. Oh, let's put the Hulk there. Until now, they did a great job. But yeah, I understand what you're saying. That's my issue with it. When we start getting a Spider-Man movie and Spider-Man is on it for 15 minutes, because then we have all these other things going on, when it starts being a problem. But I don't know. Until now, I have nothing to complain. I think all the movies really balance. Even Endgame, we had so many characters there, and they did a great job, balancing it all. And you can think, oh, we had everything. So, but well, sooner or later, it's gonna. But I think Marvel already has this kind of experience in the comics. I think it's gonna get to a point that they just gonna push the reset button and start over again. Because the thing is, Iron Man, in 10 years, the new generation is not even gonna know because the thing is, sometimes we forget people like us, people that really like movies.
Okay.
We don't understand why are they always remaking these things. But then I talked with normal people and they don't see movies that are more than 10 years. They say, oh no, that movie is really old. I'm not watching that. Or that movie is in a foreign language. Oh, I'm not watching that. So and we don't see that. We think it's weird, but that's why they remake it. You can't blame the studios because you just look at the numbers and you see a movie that they put on the cinemas and it's in a different language. It makes no box office, and then they make a remake and it makes a crap load of money, even if it's worse. So I don't know. It's sad, but if you look from their side, they're there to make money. and the numbers show them. I don't know if you saw the. I don't know what was the name in English of that one. That was with.
Has not made it.
God, I blanked. That was with the guy from.
How much did that cost?
That is in a wheelchair and he's taking care of him.
Wait, Logan?
No. He came out last year. He was with the guy of Breaking Bad. Okay.
Oh, yeah. The way. No. I know what you're talking about with Kevin Hart.
Yeah, with Kevin Hart. Anyway, that original movie is one of the most beautiful movies I ever saw in my life. It's a French movie, made loads of money in France, and it's amazing. He went to America, didn't really make any fuss. They do a one with Kevin Hart that is a completely different tone of movie. It's more the comedy like, and he made loads of money. So I don't know. It's the way it is, and we just need to accept it.
Yeah, I agree with you there. I think what the other thing that Marvel and even DC have going for them is they do have stories that will allow them to play with time, Earth's universe. So, for DC, they're talking about, like, with the Flash movie coming out in a few years, will they use the Flashpoint event and all of that to really switch things around and account for all the changes? And then with Marvel, we kind of saw it in Far From Home, with Jake Gyllenhaal's character, Mysterio, kind of alluding to it. But, again, they don't do anything that they're not, they don't do anything by mistake. So I think even bringing up the different Earths was a way to kind of test the waters.
And they're doing it with Doctor Strange. It's even in the
Yeah.
title.
Yeah.
So
Multiverse.
that's gonna be the one that they're gonna go deep into that. I don't know. I love the Flash show on CW. The first season I was big fan, and then it just started with all that bullshit of multi, like, oh, we have a Flash from here, we have a Flash from there, we have. It's always the same guy. The villain is always the same. He's a speedster. It's a speedster that's like it just starts getting a bit annoying. But and that's the problem with TV shows. When they don't know where to go, they just keep making things up until the show dies. And I think you should just be able to leave it when it's on a high. And
I agree.
They're not doing that. But
no,
yeah, let's see.
It's a problem with so many shows. They just beat it to death, and then it gets absolutely more ridiculous than the content already is. And,
that's usually why I don't watch a lot of TV shows, because I'm that kind of guy that when he starts watching something, even if it goes completely horrible, I just think, well, I watched this I'm gonna have to watch it until the end. And then things like Lost, it's like, in the half of the season I was like, oh, what's this? But then I kept watching. So that's my problem with TV shows. I usually don't watch a lot because I never know when it's gonna happen, when it's gonna end. So I usually wait until shows end and then watch them all. Like, for example, I never saw Game of Thrones. Maybe one day I'll watch the whole thing now that I know it's over and they're not gonna I can maybe give it a go.
Yeah, be able to schedule it a little bit.
It was a whole new thing.
Talking about TV shows, have you seen Hollywood on Netflix?
I have not. I actually, I'm a little behind on TV shows that I watch, and that one I had read some negative things about, so I just haven't been in a rush to watch it. But have you?
Yeah, I was surprised with all the negative. I really liked it. I started watching just the first one, just because I had nothing else to see. And then I just had to watch the whole season. I thought it was really good. And seeing the bad reviews, I didn't got it, because especially reading on Rotten Tomatoes, what people were saying, I can't understand. Sometimes it's like there's two ways. They give a lot of praise to someone that does something, then someone does the exact same thing, and they say, "Oh, why did you do that? That's not a way of doing something." and I just don't understand. It's a bit because what he does, he kind of creates an alternative universe. What he creates there in Hollywood never existed. So he creates like this kind of alternate universe that things don't go as we know that they went in history. He uses like real actors that we know in history did things and in there do other thing. But that's kind of what Tarantino did with Inglourious Bastards, with Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, and everyone gives him so much praise for that. And then this guy is saying, "Oh, why didn't you tell the real story? Are you afraid to tell the real story?" And it's like, what the hell? Like,
the main thing was
Here you got some Game of Thrones advice here.
And if people got
the advice I always got of Game of Thrones, I saw the first episode and I said, I really can't get into that. It's just noisy. So someone said, "Oh, you need to watch the first 5 episodes to get into it. If you don't watch the first 5, you don't." So I watched the first 5 and I said, "Look, I don't really got into it." "Oh, you have to watch the first 10. Oh, come on, no. Now you just
alienation and acceptance.
But that's the thing. I'm not really that kind of. I like Lord of the Rings, but I'm not crazy about it. It's not the kind of thing like that really like gets me going.
Yeah, I understand that.
Everybody was turned off.
I felt like Game of
military
Thrones.
industrial
I watched most of it. I just stopped at like third season, so I guess not most of it, but a lot of it. And I felt like you just had to have a chart on who all the characters were, you know?
That was exactly my problem. Like the problem is like I have really bad memory, like really bad memory. I can remember, you show me a frame of a movie and I can remember what movie it is, but what I can remember like people and stuff. And my problem was you watch something like that and then they stop for a year, season 2 starts, and I'm like, what the hell was this people? I don't remember anything that happened because there's so many. You just like it's like a soap opera with so many people, and then they were all dying. Like you start watching something, you're like, oh, this guy, oh, he died. It's like,
yeah, and that's why I love Netflix, or love how Netflix on their shows does like a 3-minute recap of the previous season. Like, thank you. Welcome, Elliot from Movie Files.
Hey.
Hope all is going well.
how you doing?
Yes, I did stop third season.
That's the thing. I can't do that. I would have to watch until the end. Like,
you know what it is? I think I just fell off of it because I think I was in law school at the time. And by that point, because as we were saying, it's a very complicated show and there's a lot going on. I was like, I can't just jump back into this. I have to rewatch everything, and I'm not at a point to do that yet. There he is.
Yeah.
The University of California's humor
This
magazine.
is such a good character.
Yeah.
And they can do such amazing like visual things with him.
Hold up nude.
It'll be interesting to see where they go with that.
Somebody would write.
There were some rumors that I hope. Look, I love. My God, I'm stuck again.
You know, I would run through the office waving this letter. We got a
the guy from The Matrix, like
Keanu Reeves.
Keanu Reeves. I love Keanu Reeves. Like, huge fan of him. I think he's an amazing person. But we have to be honest, he's not the best actor out there.
No,
and
I agree.
There was some rumors that he was going to play Silver Surfer, and I just hope they don't, because that's a character that we need someone that really can drive the performance, and I don't think Keanu Reeves is the right guy for that.
Elliot and I were talking about that on his watch last week. We were doing John Wick 2. You were there. And we were talking about that a little bit, that like he's perfect for those action movies and stuff, but when it comes to actual acting, I don't think he's the best.
You would consider
No, it's not. But I think, being honest, he knows that, because if you see the parts that he takes, he kind of knows that he's not the best actor out there. But he does have something. He does have that X factor that you can't explain, and you really like. Even when he's being ridiculous, like Point Break. I love Point Break. It's so over the top. He is perfect for that role.
Yeah.
Speed. If Speed is on TV, I'll stop and watch it 10 times in a day if it's on. It's so much fun.
Big J, breaking news about a character that you really like.
And I would try to take that knowledge.
Read today that Keanu is being considered for Moon Knight.
Oh God!
Would not be a fan of that.
No, not at all.
Why is
See,
that?
like if you read Moonlight, he's like I already had a fan casting for that I thought it was the perfect. But like Moonlight is a very broken character. He's a character that is like he has kind of OCD, not OCD, like from the war.
Surfboard who was
Uh,
constantly giving to thinking about the Indian
I don't know why I'm slipping right now too.
how love would conquer all and so forth. And this kind of stuff
Post-traumatic stress disorder.
and I think
PTSD. Wow, you and I today are not a good combo.
Yeah. But so he's a guy that's very broken. He's a guy that really goes over the board sometimes, going nuts. He kind of talks to himself. He's someone that you need someone that can really drive those performances. And Keanu can do the action. He can do all that for sure. But you needed someone that was a lot more broken. And I think he's not a good fit. For me, I would,
to his core audience,
like no question, Shia LaBeouf would be the guy for me. He would be the guy that would like. You can see that crazy in his eyes. You can see he's like just goes from like nice guy to completely nuts in the snap of a button. And did you ever saw the video clip with of Sia with Shia LaBeouf?
Oh yeah.
Elastic Arts. That kind of like look that he has, that completely like is not there. I think it would be the perfect casting. He probably doesn't want to do anything like that after Transformers.
That would be really interesting. I mean, especially because Moon Knight is starting as a television series. I wonder if that would place him a little differently.
Yeah.
Not having to carry the franchise, you know.
Yeah, that would be my pick. I think we need someone a little bit more like that. And that's the other thing. Like Keanu is like 50 something. Like he's too old for that character now. And what are you gonna do? Because especially like you said, he's gonna start as a TV show and then later on go into a movie. So are we gonna get Keanu going into a movie when he's almost 60?
Right.
Sometimes that I don't know. I don't know if that rumor is right. I know Marvel is trying to get him for everything. They just want him to be on anything, and I can understand why. But I think they need a character that's a bit different. Honestly, I didn't know what I would cast him in the Marvel universe.
I think with Shia too, he definitely is on that, like the rebound from some of the most I guess treacherous years of his life, and now he's with the Peanut Butter Falcon last year and Honey Boy.
Honey Boy was so good.
I loved it. He's very much, I think, the type that Marvel would like to take, thinking about Robert Downey Jr. in a sense. But here's some fan casting. Dan Stevens. I have not watched either The Guest or Legion, but Dan Stevens obviously was.
No, I know. So you mean for
Moon Knight, I think.
Oh yeah, okay.
Pretty solid as the Beast.
If you see The Guest, you can see what he's saying. In The Guest, he plays that exact kind of character. It's like all nice, and then just like that, he goes completely maniac. So I think that could be also
scripts and the artwork.
And he has connections with Disney because he did The Beast and he did Beast. So probably, I don't know, it'll be a good fit.
I grew up with Stan.
I think he would be a good fit. I do like that casting. I don't know enough about Moon Knight to be able to, I guess, recommend or fan cast someone. But I do like, based off of what you were saying, I do like the Shia LaBeouf thing. I really do.
Yeah, it would be good. But Moon Knight is kind of a poor version of Batman, but he has also some mystical elements. But he's a guy that has a lot of personalities. He dresses up as a cab driver during the day. So yeah, he's kind of infiltrates all these worlds, and he plays on this like being able to have these all personalities. So that's the interesting part of it, because you get a lot of characters played by the same one. and you see that he starts losing, kind of like Batman does, that sometimes he doesn't know if he's Batman or if he's Bruce Wayne. He kind of starts. This guy has like 5 or 4 that he has to deal with, and he has to. And there's some mystical elements that I don't know if will work there. Things with werewolves and stuff, because he gets his powers from like Egyptian goddess of the moon and stuff. So there's still this is hilarious, this Spider-Man TV show. So I remember watching this as a kid and being amazed, and then I saw this now lately, and I was like, because sometimes I have this thing that I get really embarrassed because I go to Little J like, hey, there's this amazing thing you need to see. But we watched it since I was a kid. And then when I put it on, she looks at me like, are you joking? And
a few more episodes.
This is something that I watched recently, and I was like, oh my God.
It was bad.
Like the web was like this net that just used to go on people.
Within each of these characters that made you want to.
This guy just amazes me.
And people have been doing that decades and decades in comic books.
What he did is like
incredible.
There were some films in the
absolutely
80s,
incredible,
in the early 90s, which were frankly not very good. Up until then, I do believe it was just that surface translation that had been done on most of the comic books.
We got a recommendation to check out Legion.
Legion is amazing.
I need to check that out. I definitely do.
And we knew how
it's really good, Legion. It was one of my favorite TV shows, and the guy that created that, I can remember the name, was going to be behind the movie Doom, about Doctor Doom.
Okay.
And with Fox being bought out by Disney, I think it's not going to happen. Oh, the Punisher with Dolph Lundgren, I remember that one.
Oh my gosh, looking at these is so funny.
This is why when people complain that, oh my God, that superhero movie wasn't great. Yeah, look at these ones we got.
Sony have settled their differences.
Just compare with that. Like that's the thing. Like if you look at the MCU, for me the worst one is the second Thor. But compare that one to like all this that we just saw there, and we just see how lucky we were.
Finally,
it's very true.
A fellow named Avi Arad came to our studio.
Oh, here you go with Spider-Man.
Avi understood our characters.
I remember my first meeting with Stan in.
He's also behind Blade. They don't put it there, but Blade was another. I think Blade was a really important comic movie because it kind of showed that even those characters that no one knows about can make really cool movies.
And I'm excited for Blade to come back and to fold into, fold into the MCU. But actually going back to Moon Knight and, wondering how, I guess there's a lot of conversation about whether Blade was going to be a good fit or if it would be too odd for the MCU. But given what you just said about Moon Knight, I think it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, I think they're gonna kind of create a separate line. I think they're gonna go into space and have all those space adventures. But then I think they're going, because there's also some rumors that Ghost Rider is also gonna come now to a TV show or a movie or something. So if you put together what they're doing with those, I think you're gonna get supernatural with Doctor Strange in the middle. I think you can get a more supernatural kind of line.
X-Men.
I know they were working on the Ghost Rider TV series for Hulu prior to the acquisition.
It's the first
by Disney, but that got shelved.
Yeah.
Meeting was set up with the folks at Marvel.
What do you think about the name of the new Spider-Man universe?
So I thought, well, I'm going to go figure out.
God, is that the name?
It's
everything they were saying about the first
of Marvel
negative.
Is it Spider-Man universe of Marvel Comics or something?
Well, that's not a very good name.
And then it wasn't until the movie came out people and launched sort of the Marvel era.
What they're gonna do with that?
I am very interested to see what more, how they incorporate the Sony universe more into the MCU down the road. I hope they just don't dig their heels in and end up being like two very different things that are competing with one another ultimately. But
I think the only problem here is if you are Disney, you don't really want to put a lot of eggs in that basket, because if we saw what happened not long ago, Sony might just want to do their own thing, and then all of a sudden, if Marvel is too into the Spider-Man universe, then it's going to be hard for them to come out. So unless they buy Sony, and honestly, that's something I can see happen, or buy Sony or buy at least the Spider-Man bag. I don't think they're gonna really dig their heels in it.
Yeah. Well, here's the actual name: Sony Pictures Universe of Marvel characters. I don't know why that slipped my mind so much.
Crawling all over 3,600 movie screens. The boss of
Crazy.
the box office.
It's the most profitable movie of the year.
It's bigger than life itself when you go into a theater. And with all the special effects and all that's
It's hard to describe the feeling of seeing characters that
I can imagine how it was for him. Like for us, imagine him watching these movies.
So good.
I'm glad that he was alive to watch all this, because it's just
Fantastic Four movie grossed more than $300 million.
Well, this wasn't great.
All the things that
I didn't hate it, but I didn't love it.
Oh no, the first one is funny, fun at least. But the second one, I don't know, just missed a lot.
Elliot's asking about the New Mutants, and yeah, we talked a little bit about that earlier. It's to me, very sad that the New Mutants is getting dumped again on, or getting dumped, period, on VOD. That movie's just been bounced around so much, but even if they are really charging $25.99 for it, oh my gosh, like this movie, they're just throwing up every possible roadblock to keep people from seeing it.
I don't know, like how much was Trolls?
$19.99.
It's not big of a difference. Like
it's not huge, but essentially you're paying like close to $30 for a movie.
How does it work there with VOD? Because we don't have a lot of that in here. Like, do you keep the movie to watch how many times?
It depends. Well, I guess mostly with VOD, you can buy or you can rent. But what we've seen with a lot of the new releases that have come straight from theaters, like they may have debuted in theaters the way back. Trolls was not one of them. I still believe like certain movies like that, when they went to VOD, they either it was one or the other. You either paid $20 to rent or however much, or $20 to buy. But it's only on that service, obviously, that you're purchasing it from. So if you're purchasing it from your cable company, you're only watching it there. If you get Amazon or whatever, you can watch it on digitally as many times as you want. For a kids movie, I think that makes a lot of sense because they're likely going to want to rewatch Trolls and all that. But for a movie like New Mutants that has had so many negative reports and this aura around it for years, I just feel like people are already wondering what this movie is about and whether it's even worth it. So to put it higher than even like Trolls was, I think that's going to turn some people off.
Yeah, and the other thing is like the audience for New Mutants is an audience that also does piracy. Not like for a kids movie, like most parents don't know how to like even download it or whatever, so they just buy it. This New Mutants, it's gonna be online an hour after it comes out,
right?
And it's gonna be a lot of people that are gonna watch it their way. So it's sad, but I'm just confused why it's gonna be on Amazon. I just don't get it. I would be a really good play because one of the complaints that everyone does have about Disney Plus is they don't have any new content. So I don't get it why it would go on Amazon. It would be a good play to get it on Disney Plus and get some more people there. But
I wonder if it goes back to what we were talking about before this with contractual obligations for certain people, or certain companies. But I'm sure we'll get an explanation soon. But to answer a question in the comments, we don't know when it's coming out. It's out there for pre-order. I don't believe there's a date attached to it, but hopefully we find out soon.
When it's there for pre-order, what like people say they're interested or they buy it or
Yeah. I'm not sure if it's active to pre-order right now, but it's certainly the page is up at least saying it's coming.
It might be a marketing research. They're probably trying to see how many people would be interested. I don't know.
Could be.
Right now, but
Could be like to see how many pages that page is going to have, and then they crunch the numbers and see is it worth to put it out there or not.
A good workout.
I was like, this is not Marvel.
I was thinking Stan Lee is working out hard.
But the characters, the intellectual properties were not bankrupt.
At one point of the bankruptcy, one of the current heads of the company said to a group of bankers, Spider-Man alone is worth $1 billion.
And my contract was invalid, as all of them were. And I didn't want to stop working. So we got a company together. They wanted to call it Stanley Media, which I found very flattering.
Stanley Media was formed during the internet bubble, which was the craze right around 1999.
Oh, yeah. Remember this.
Were in their infancy. Now I have an opportunity to get into the internet when it is in its infancy, and it's a far bigger, more powerful field than comics ever were.
It's not the same thing. I tried a lot to read comics online. It's not the same thing.
I understand that. I was just reading recently the Batman Long Halloween, just prep because apparently that's what a lot of the Batman is going to be based on next year.
Yeah.
So it's just different. It's that physical media. I need it for some reason.
No, it's completely different. It loses the whole the magic of it.
Yeah.
He went public.
Before I knew it, we had a staff of more than 200 people. And we were going great guns. I never had so much fun.
One of the things I find amazing is all these comic book characters that we're talking about. They all like the old ones. I can remember like a comic book character that was created, let's say after 2000, and became like this huge thing. The last one I can remember is probably Spawn, and that's probably the last one that became this like huge like character that everyone knows. It's incredible.
Taken advantage of.
And that's been tiptoeing its way back to the big screen for a while, so we'll see what happens with that.
It was heartbreaking.
Interesting how those pictures appeared the other day, and now the news on it being available on VOD. Maybe it'll drop sooner than later. New Mutants. Yeah, I don't know what they're doing with that, but the pictures were really cool. I don't know if you had a chance to see them. They showed two of the villains.
I saw. The thing is, if they're gonna release it, they better do it soon while people are still stuck at home. Yep. Because, like, I don't know how it is there, but today here in Portugal, they started like making it a little more easier. People can go out if they have a mask and stuff. So if they want to release it, you better do now because people are still stuck without nothing to do, and they will like spend money on stuff that they usually wouldn't do. So I don't think they should wait.
Still have a lot
I agree.
of the original emphases and problems and sincerities and that he had when he created some of his earlier creations.
I forgot about that one.
In today's world, there are maybe a little bit.
No, it's like I said, most of this, like, what the hell are they?
Isn't that quite as clear?
One of these cartoons that I really like, and Sony also owns it. I found out the other day. Is Gargoyles. I don't know if you ever saw that one.
Oh, yes.
I think that would be an amazing movie.
I am 100% with you on that.
Going to care about
and it belongs to Disney. I had no idea. It's like
some people
sometimes I don't know why they just do over and over the same kind of things, and they don't with properties like that. I don't get it.
Well, I think Gargoyles, wasn't that a recent acquisition in the Fox when they purchased Fox?
I'm doing what
I'm not sure if it's recent or not. I saw the other day because I was doing a thing about cartoons from when I was kids that would be like great because they're doing E-Man. That's another one that was great. I'm not really happy with the casting choices and stuff, but still, I don't know. And Thundercats, I love Thundercats. Did you guys have Thundercats?
Oh yes. Oh yes.
So
Yeah,
movies
regular-
like that, I don't know why they don't get a chance, and we just remake the same ones. But
They have a lot of opportunities to really branch out, but I think they're just going more for like the sure bets.
Yeah.
I've done everything I want to do. I've wanted to write, and I've written. I want to do more movies. I want to do more television, more DVDs, more.
Thanks, Elliot.
episodes.
Take
I want to do
care.
more lecturing. I want to do
Bye, Elliot.
more of everything I'm doing. The only problem is time. I just wish more time.
Oh.
It's even weirder to hear now.
Like I said, at least he was able to see all this. Like a lot of people don't see their creations being loved by so many people. Like, and he still did all the cameos for the movies until now. So.
Yeah. Well, you just bear that in mind that they come from me.
You are not extravagant.
I couldn't afford to be extravagant with you. Excuse me, dear. I was not looking at the camera. I was looking this way. Don't ever direct the master. Now start again
now
if you
here,
wish.
here it goes. Now let's get this straight.
I love the relationship.
Yeah. That was the other part that was sad. It was like in the last days, there was things with his daughter and all the like. It's just not something. This is the thing. Like sometimes people don't think about it and just think about the money. But sometimes being rich is not the best thing in the world because
how true is that?
You get a lot of people then just want to like. And it was really sad to know that with his daughter and all, but
yeah,
it was loved by all of us.
It's unfortunate that even the most successful of us are not, or of them, I should say, not just us, are not always not immune to the same issues that plague any family, right? With battles over money or rights and things like that. It definitely is going to rear its ugly head if it has the opportunity to, but. Well, I thank you for popping on this tonight. This was a lot of fun chatting. What is coming down the pipe for you? You're always involved in these larger projects on Instagram and such. And
so we're gonna launch maybe tomorrow or in 2 days. We're gonna launch for our movie lovers movie club. So what's that? It's like a book club, really. We usually get a bunch of accounts together and give them a challenge, or we all review the same movie, or we all say review a movie from A24 or whatever. So the next one is going to be, we wanted to make it a little bit more personal. So I wanted people to talk about what they're missing the most in this quarantine and pick a movie that represented that. So for example, one for us, what we miss the most is being able to travel home to see each other. I want to see Jasmine wants to see me. We're not allowed to travel and we just wanted to go home. So we're going to do ET, that he just wants to phone home and just see his family. So we're going to get 30 accounts and they all going to pick on what they're missing the most in this quarantine and then pick a movie. So they're going to review the movie, but they're also going to talk a little bit what they're missing and why that movie kind of shows what they're going through. So that's something we're doing now. We're doing the top 10 of best cinematographers. And we also going to have Unyolo and Friends. That's something we do where we pick accounts and talk about them. So we're going to have one in about a couple of days.
Very cool.
For Filmiona. I don't know if you know that account.
Not sure.
But she very cool account. So we're just trying to do the most we can with the community and then just reviewing the movies we saw. We're probably going to do one for Trolls. We really like that movie. We weren't expecting because the first one it's okay, but Jasmine is completely nuts about music. So that was the perfect movie for her because it's music from the start to the end. So we did that. We have a couple of things coming on.
Just a few things planned, right?
A few things planned.
Excellent. Well, listen, definitely appreciate you doing this, and I will be chatting with you daily as we usually do, and we'll look out for all that great content.
Okay, thank you so much for having us.
Thank you, and thanks everyone for joining.
Good night, everyone. Bye.
Get some sleep over there.
Yeah. It's 1:30 in the morning now. Still have a
So,
couple of hours to do stuff.
I was gonna say a few hours till you turn in, right?
Yeah.